Hello, my name is Penny Jenkins, and this is my final project for UNC Charlotte EIST 6492 December 2013 graduation. One of the goals in Patton High School's mission statement is to prepare our students for 21st century skills. The Impact Team will continue to prepare our fellow teachers and administrators to meet the goals of the 21st century learner by enabling the staff to become successful 21st century teachers. The staff must first be secure in their use of technological equipment that we have access to, and then the teachers at Patton will be better instructors of the material that they teach, thus producing students that are engaged and prepared to meet the demands of their post-school experiences. My client in this project is really twofold. The first being the administration headed by Mrs. Kathy Amos, and the second being the Social Studies Department. The Social Studies Department includes two co-chairs, myself and Mr. John Radeski. The Social Studies Department at Patton High School includes 7 teachers, 3 of which already have previous master's degrees, 5 of which teach an AP course. One of the benefits of receiving the Impact Grant is that Patton High School was able to purchase for every teacher their own iMac computer, their own iPad, and every classroom now has a smartboard. After conducting a survey, the teacher said, now that we have these materials, we need to know how to use them and how to use them in our lesson planning. So that became the purpose of my goals. In setting up the Social Studies Department and working with my own team first, I felt like I'd be very comfortable then in spreading my expertise and sending out the department to talk with the other academic departments in the school. It should also be noted here that the Social Studies Department applied for a separate grant, and with this money that we applied and won, we bought an Aquas board for one of the classrooms, and we also have 10 iPads for student use. The school also has 2 iPad carts and 2 iMac carts that teachers can check out and use in their classroom. So, now that we had the materials, the iPads, the smart boards, the Air Max, like I said, the main goal began how to use them and incorporate them. So our first goal was making sure that teachers knew how to use the iPad and their iMacs and their smart boards. Professional learning communities of the Social Studies Department met at lunch. We met after school. And we also had something referred to as Tech Tuesday, where we met with the entire school to have professional developments and making sure that teachers knew how to use these materials. Once teachers felt secure in how to use their iPad and their iMac, the next question, of course, began, all right, how do I incorporate this into my lesson plans? So it became important to have PLCs and professional developments that gave teachers time to investigate, to look for sites and apps, and then share them, and that is what we did. In meeting this second goal of incorporating it into our lessons and sharing, a teacher artifact reflection form was created for them. This allowed teachers to write down the site or the tool or the app that they used, give a description of it and how they used it in their classroom. These were then shared with the teachers about the success of them, and then we created our own web page. It is Patton Social Studies Department, and on this site we listed all of the sites and apps that we found that were successful in classroom lessons. So once we had met our first objective, having the materials and making sure teachers knew how to use them, and our second objective, having time to incorporate them into our lessons, the third, of course, began to make sure that not only were we using them, but the students knew how to use the equipment and incorporate them into their learning so that they could become 21st century learners. Patton High School is currently a BYOD, Bring Your Own Device School. We have applied for and have reached the next step in securing a grant that will provide a one-to-one for the whole county. But right now, as I said, we are still a BYOD. So, once teachers knew how to incorporate them into their lessons, the next step was, all right, let's teach the students how to use these apps and these sites that we have developed. Some of the sites that we made sure that the students knew how to use, of course, were things on Google, Google Drive, Google Docs. Students have been allowed to create their own web pages. They've been creating their own iMovies, which they really enjoy doing. So different aspects of putting the computers in their hands and using them for more than just for Google searches became our next goal. So now teachers have materials. They have apps and sites. They're learning how to use them and incorporate them into their lessons. The students are using, and to ensure that teachers and students were using, a classroom walkthrough form was used. It was suggested that we first make sure which classrooms to go into so that teachers were not uncomfortable, to look at the iPad cart sign-up sheets and go in and see what teachers were doing. Were they using the iPad cart? Was BYOD in use? As they did these, were the children being successful? Was it high time on task? And we discovered that yes, many of the teachers were using, all of the social studies teachers, my goal, were using these materials and using the 10 from just our department to supplement the carts. And students were incorporating and making their own lessons. So now teachers are using the materials, students are using the materials, but are they learning? A formative assessment of this came through the use of creating some portfolios. Evidence included creating Google Docs, presentations, and one of the most recent ones that we've been doing is something called the Senior Project. In the Senior Project, students have been for years creating these huge paper documents. Now, trying to go green and use less paper, the students are creating an online portfolio for their senior projects. So yes, students are learning and they are 21st century learners. To conclude this, a survey was given to the teachers asking how they felt now from the beginning about the equipment. Many were much more satisfied with their use of the equipment and knowing how to use it and incorporating it into their lessons. This is not just social studies, but our whole school. The biggest complaint we have now is not with the equipment and not knowing how to use it, but the bandwidth, not being able to always get online because of the increase in the number of uses of technology in our classrooms. Overall, this project went really well. I'm very pleased with the outcome because the department is now much more secure in using the equipment and incorporating it into their lessons and sharing it with the students. One issue that I did come across was, of course, in time. The teachers did not like meeting during lunch. Tech Tuesday did not always go well because that went during planning periods, and they didn't like giving up their planning periods. And after-school meetings, social studies teachers are often coaches, so meeting then could sometimes be an issue. Future plans for this project included spreading it throughout the entire school. As of right now, there are only 2 people left in the Impact Project team, myself and Eric Taylor. He's been working with the math department. I've been working with social studies. Our goal is to now take what we've done, creating web pages and sites, and making sure the teachers know how to use the materials and how to incorporate them, giving them also some professional development and meeting with their PLCs so that they too can find sites and work together to enhance their lesson plans and their learning. We plan to do this in the English department, the science department, and of course our CTE department, PE, the entire school. Another future goal, one that we've actually really already started, is meeting with the entire social studies department in the county. We had a professional development meeting. We were given time off half a day to meet, and there the whole county, the teachers got together and were able to discuss some of the sites and things that they had found and used, and we were also able to add those to the patent site. The patent website will be available for all the teachers in the county, even the state, and further if they like. It's a quick reference to the sites we've found and how to use them. This is an ongoing project. Things will be continued, sites and apps will be continued to be added to this web page as we go along, and it should continue to be a learning process. In conclusion, this course and the Impact Grant have truly helped Patton High School in becoming 21st century learners and teachers. We are now using the equipment, the tools, to help our students and our teachers be better at what they do. So this has been a very successful adventure. Thank you for your time, and let's continue being 21st century learners.